Welcome everyone in Nigeria. I am Gimba Umar and this is State of the Nation. The Inspector General of Police Ibrahim Idris has written a report on Tuesday's siege on the National Assembly to Acting President Yemi Osinbajo, in which the IGP recommended a search of Lowell Daura's house. In the report, the IGP accused the SAG Director General of the DSS of abusing his office and working for some highly placed politicians and for selfish interest. The IGP in that report informed the acting president that Mr. Daura is undergoing further investigations in Abuja. Let's sink our teeth into this. Segun Showumi is a member of the PDP, as well as Dennis Inyang Mbekwe, a pro-democracy activist and also a political analyst. They both join me from our Abuja studios. I want to thank both of you for coming on the show at this time. Let's look at the IGP's letter in which he didn't mince words. The quote is that it is crystal clear that the principal suspect, Lawal Musa Daura, may be acting the scripts of some highly placed politicians to achieve selfish political goals, hence his unilateral and unlawful decision to invade the National Assembly complex. Let me start with you, Mr. Showumi. Do you believe that the blockade of the entrance of the National Assembly by the DSS is scripted according to the IGP's letter to the acting president?
We must be careful to not do the investigation for the investigating authorities. Insofar as the IGP has said the investigation is ongoing, we must wait and let them go through the whole process. Once the investigation is completed, they will be able to come and make a report and come clean to Nigerians to tell us what has happened. Having said that, we need to go back a little bit and review how did we get to this sorry state of things. Sometimes when leaders don't nip things in the bud or send a strong signal that a certain type of behavior is unacceptable in a democracy, what you will find is that they're going to get themselves very quickly into an embarrassing situation like the Buhari-led administration have found themselves now relative to how its operatives are handling themselves. First, they went into Benue State, and everybody saw all of the issues around the State Assembly. Rather than scream and shout and nip it in the bud, some people got emboldened. We saw what happened in Ekiti after the elections and all of that, and all of the allegations there. And the icing on the cake, or more like when it's going to hit the roof, was when they now took themselves to the level where the whole of the members of the Committee of Nations in the world consider that Nigeria is really, really threatening democracy and civil rule. Fact of the matter is that we'll never know who ordered it right now. We'll never know on whose order the orders were either sent out or carried out. But one thing that we need to say and say firmly and clearly is that this is not how we expect democracy to run. The relationship between the executive and the legislature, indeed even with every other organs of government, is such that sometimes there will be topsy-turvy arrangements, things that they want to agree or not agree within themselves, occasional power play needing negotiation. What will ensure and demonstrate that our democracy is growing is not for us to constantly run to undermine the process, militarize the process, and run the risk that the whole of the democratic process could just collapse. Imagine what would have happened that day if, for lack of self-control, things had gone out of the ordinary and someone had gotten killed, or one of the guns had just maybe exploded or on its own, or maybe gone into rapid fire and all that. How would they have looked for Nigerians? How would Nigerians have looked in the midst of the nations of the world? Democracy requires that Democrats are better put in government, people who understand how to build consensus, how to negotiate, how to listen to others, and how to walk the difficult fine line of ensuring that the independence of the executive is not trampled upon, yet the independence of other organs are not trampled upon. Whatever it is that has happened is shameful, is condemned and stand condemned by everybody, and it is, I would just want to plead that lest we continue to overheat our own polity with careless comments, we should just take it easy, we should calm down, we should appreciate the fact that something has been done, some person has been relieved of their office, some level of investigation has commenced, and hopefully in the next couple of days, we would like to know precisely what has happened. We'll be interested in knowing who authorized the vehicles. We'll be interested in knowing who gave the command order to get the troops together. We'll be interested in knowing who released the ammunition that they were carrying. We will be interested in knowing who gave them the authority to
while
go
we
in
are
those kinds of
interested in that,
activity.
just
We'll be
permit me to
interested
butt
in
in
knowing
also,
exactly
because
what has happened.
this much,
Extreme vigilance is the hallmark.
just give me a second, if you will. This much is what we know. The acting president, Oshibajo, has vowed that he will punish perpetrators behind that very blockade we're talking about at the National Assembly that led to the immediate sack of the NSA, Mr. Lawal Daura. Do you expect the investigations, for instance, to be extensive, i.e. investigate the ruling and the main opposition party, the APC and the PDP members in the legislature?
This is not about politics. Neither is it about saying if you are investigating the APC members or the PDP members. No, 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 no. We must separate issues. What we need to investigate is how did we find ourselves in a situation that the particular organ of government that symbolizes democracy and democratic government, which is the legislature, frankly, came to be such that it was under siege of some level of commando-style militarization by operatives of, obviously now I've been told, is the DSS. Now, if you remove the party coloration out of it, you will be able to sift through and you will be able to identify the principal actors behind the scene who caused this event to happen. And then you will be able to strengthen your operation manual, you'll be able to strengthen your mode of operation, you'll be able to say to your operative, not just the DSS, probably all of the other organs that are within the ambit of what you call the security apparatus of the country, that this is the mode of operation in a democracy. This is what can be called the terms of engagement. This is the line that must not be crossed. This is how you expect them to behave. And this is where the authority and the command comes from. And when you have the president as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, hey, the buck stops on his table. At some point in time, we're going to have to ask him, how did you get your people behaving like this? He may punish one person. One scapegoat or two may be used as the fall guys of the situation. The bottom line is that, is it the same person you're going to blame for what happened in Benue? Is that the same person you're going to blame for what happened in Ekiti? Is that the same person you're going to blame for what happened in some other locations in the country? Generally, we must see that in our democratic journey, we have done and we have gone through some teething period in the early years between 1999 until we got to the level where we are in 2015, now in 2018. We cannot always pretend as if knowledge was not gained or experience could not be shared or the records of what has happened from a historical perspective of what happened yesterday and what worked and what didn't work. Our democracy must be such that we ourselves must know that it's developing and we must continue to nudge it in all of the right direction. And one of the major problems where you have democratic governance get itself into this kind of embarrassment is when people think that there's a particular behavior or there's a particular level of loyalty that is expected between organizations that are for the state now being responsible to certain individuals.
If I may just come in here again, permit me to just come in here very briefly, Mr. Show-Me, if you will, because if you say that we should stick to the issues, we are indeed sticking to the issues, and that's why I'm asking you, why do you have a strong sense that the legislators from both the ruling and the main opposition party should not be investigated when Lawal Daura himself, the DSS, former DSS boss now, as it stands, is being investigated by the police?
No, I haven't said people should not be investigated. Don't get it wrong. What I am saying is that if you're investigating them, you're not investigating them in their hollowed, dignified, distinguished titles. You are investigating them as individuals and what role anybody could have played. And you also have to understand, the director of SSS, the top ranking man there, has to know what is the expected line of command, who gives instruction, who does it listen to? Who does it clear with? Are there no interagency collaboration that is required? What then exactly is the mode of operation and mode of engagement that ought to exist between the levers of authority, which ultimately is the federal government and the president as commander-in-chief of the armed forces and all other organs down the line? If it comes out to prove that some other person who ordinarily should not have had the right to give such an instruction, give that instruction, then we don't have to look at it from the prism of a party. We just have to call the person out after thorough investigation. We have to shame him for what it is, and we have to punish them for who they are. We wouldn't, if we start delving into the dangerous generalization of, oh, it could have been PDP, or oh, it could have been APC, we're going to over-policize the whole process, and we're going to limit the ability of the investigating authority to be able to do their job devoid of any political sentiment. At the end of the day, the investigation should be thorough, the investigation should be reliable, the investigation should go to the root cause of it. Who made the call? On whose order did it go? Who signed off what? If it turns out that Daura is the only man, by what authority did he go there? What is his reporting line? Ordinarily, who is he supposed to have reported to? Who takes the last instruction? Who gives the command go or stop? And once you go along it in that direction, you will find out that you will be able to sickle in everybody that played one role or the other there, and you'll be able to assign and apportion responsibility, blame, and punishment accordingly. But once you start throwing in, oh, it could have been PDP, or it could have been APC, or it could have been Mr. President, or it could have been some other leader, or it could have been a party chairman, you color it with all of the things that always come in the way of investigation. And like I said, opening statement, we should calm down. We should thank God that we've been able to, survive this extremely dangerous situation that could have exploded before our hand, but we should allow the investigating authority do their investigation, and we should call a spade when the investigation is complete, and we should punish those that need to be punished.
Okay, well, let's just quickly go on a short break now. We'll be back to continue this line of discussion. Join us again.